Choo choo, bitches. It's the Jaking Off Show. As of this recording, it is still Labor Day. About 45 minutes till Tuesday. The rent's fucking due, motherfuckers. Get your shit together. Tell me, what did you do for the 3-day weekend? Here's what I fucking did. Work, and then a comedy show. Now I'm fucking here. I was at the liquor store. I was getting some snacks, and the fucking clerk's like, "Hey, you coming to or from work?" I'm like, "Both, motherfucker. I got shit to do. I'm busy." So, I fuck, man. This is sort of not in my prerogative here. It is ill-advised to talk shit about other comics. It's really not a good thing to like be a dick. Now, I'm gonna do a little balancing act here. I'm gonna talk a little bit of shit about some stuff that went down at this bar show tonight, without naming names, or without getting too specific, because the guy might listen to the podcast. But if in case you are, man, I got some fucking news for you. Look, you gotta... It's really important to be a good host for anything, really, whether it's a comedy show. So let me give you an example here. A good host, let's say it's a house party, right? A good host would have snacks on the table, and each guest that comes in, offer them a drink. The host is also, the bartender, the delegator, the leader, the host of the show or the host of the party. That can come down to delegation of activities. I've been to like a board game night at a party, or I've been to like, a giant weed sesh with a bunch of people, and the host, the person delegates kind of what happens, and it's generally a good idea, and people are on board with it because the host is good. Now, if you're a bad host, now let's take it into the context of the same scenario. A house party. A bad host will, get guests, we'll start strong, we'll get guests in the house, we'll get things started, and then the host leaves. Oh, there's snacks on the table over there, make yourself a drink. And then goes outside, has a cigarette or something. What the flying fuck is that shit all about? So here's what went down. I was the first comic up for this show. And started off kind of rocky. Now, when you're a host of your own comedy show, do not start off by saying, "Oh, the equipment works this time. Oh, my set sucks." Write a new one. Write another joke. Write more jokes. Don't talk about the fucking weather. Don't talk about how the show's starting late and comic A, comic B, comic C aren't here yet. Probably because they know that it's a fucking shit show and they got better shit to do. Canceling the weather, the fucking Phillies, or on this day 12 years ago, I did this, and tell me a fucking joke. Tell me a fucking joke. Seriously. And, just ranting and complaining about just nuanced shit that's not funny, and then I'm the first comic up, right? And he goes and introduces me. Oh, it's like, he's got a podcast called the Jaking Off Show podcast, and coming to the stage, Jake Bassey, and people start clapping, and then he just keeps fucking talking, because some lady had walked in. The bar doesn't offer food, so this lady walked in with fucking donuts and Cheetos, and he's just talking for another minute about fucking snack food and shit, just arbitrary bullshit, and I'm sitting there scratching my fucking nuts like. And he's looking at me. He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, man. I'll bring you up now." And it's like, dude, shut the fuck up. You don't fucking say the comic's name, and then just keep talking. Like, come on, dude. I got shit to do here. I gotta go back and do other stuff, man. And then I go up, and his equipment's like not working, and so like I fucking fix it myself, like attachments and volume control and shit like that. And then the motherfucker leaves and goes outside. This dude has a list and like the light thing for you know, like you got a minute left, you get the light if you don't know. And it's just like, dude, where are you going? Where are you going? Listen to me. Listen to the other comics. You might have a tag on my joke or something that you might just write on stage in the moment. Keep the brain going. You know, you work the muscle. You're a student of the game. Everybody is. You know? You got to keep good energy, not just like, oh yeah, I do a show here at this bar on Monday nights, and it's whatever. Dude, come on, bring it up. And I made the mistake of trying to bring up the energy in basically a dead room where other comics are waiting their turn. Now, like one comic brought like a couple friends, and I was just focused on them the whole time. Got a couple chuckles, got some head turns, got the bartender's attention with some like, you know, day job jokes. You know, I'm trying to break the ice with the non-comics, you know, and there's other comics sitting at the bar, they're talking or whatever. Like, I haven't really been in the game that long, man, but I know that if you want to bring a positive impact in the stand-up comedian community, no matter what level you are, when it's not your turn, you are then a participant. If you want to think about your material before you go up or something, you know, go sit in the corner somewhere and think about what the fuck you're going to say and just be neutral. But like, you're having drinks, it's like, come on, man. I stuck around for a couple comics, but I had to dip because it was just an awful show, dude. And like, damn, man, what a huge disservice. What a massive, underwhelming experience. And I learn something new every time I go up. A good host has good energy. You know, and I was the first one up. I had to counterbalance this shit by opening with a little fucking uppity songs, like I just got some drugs from some guy's van. I just got some drugs from some guy's van. Some guy's van. There's some people clapping along. That you know, fucking, you know, I'm just doing some upbeat kind of thing. I'm trying to get it going, and you know, I was starting to fizzle out a little bit because it was just really draining, and motherfucker, it's so frustrating that I don't know how long Homeboy's been doing it, but like, damn, man, if you're listening, man, you got some room for improvement. Now look, I don't want to cut my losses and find another spot, because like, honestly, like Monday nights, that's where you do that thing. Like Monday night's never a good night, and it's Labor Day, you know. There's some circumstances here, but I gotta find another spot, dog, because how the fuck am I going to get better if all of the other factors that I mentioned before are not helping me improve as a comic? You introduce me, you introduce a comic, you shake my hand, get the fuck off the stage, let me talk for 7 to 8 minutes, you give me the light when it's time, I don't run the clock, I'm respectful, I'll end a sentence and maybe I'll have like a quick one-liner, maybe just, you know, something just to maximize my time without going over, and just being respectful of the, you know, the unwritten rules. There's no school, there's no guidebook, there's no fucking anything, but there are guidelines and unwritten rules to this game. And that is, I don't know, man, just be good at what you do. Don't go outside and leave. Stick around. Now, I'm a hypocrite because I didn't stick around for the whole show. I should have had the backs of the other comics that were going to perform for that evening. That's where I fucked up. I should have stuck around and, you know, maybe networked a little bit. But I just wanted to dip, man. I just wanted to go. And I was really frustrated. And I have to go find another spot. Now, speaking of finding another spot, there was a contest that I did a couple weeks ago. And I didn't win, you know, whatever. It was an experience. I did get approached by one of the judges of the contest, who is a producer at a place, at a venue. I'm just undermining the name dropping because it's such an LA thing. But he approached me and told me, hey man, your jokes were good. A little bit too intense for this crowd. Part of the scoring was audience reaction. Now, I had said some graphic, rude shit to an audience that was mostly like older folks. Don't eat pussy on the rag, folks. You look like the Wilson ball from Castaway. But yeah, I said something along the lines of that. And he's like, hey man, good jokes, it's graphic, and that'll work at places at maybe the Laugh Factory or the Comedy Store. And like, have you performed at venues in Hollywood? And I'm like, not really. I don't have a car. You know, it's kind of a trip to get out there. Money's tight. You know, there's factors, but I shouldn't let that stop me. You know, I got to spend the fucking money. At least I'm not paying for like parking and shit like that. And he's like, the Valley's not going to do you any fucking good, kid. You gotta get seen out there in Hollywood. And I'm like, that's such a cliche thing, but man, he's right. That dude was right. So the Laugh Factory has open mics on Tuesdays. Tuesday's coming up. I should go over there and give it a shot. But it's not guaranteed. There's a line. Because everybody wants to be a fucking comic. There's going to be a line, and you got to wait, and you got to do what I think it was 3 minutes clean, no notebook. I think that's the Laugh Factory's thing. But you can only do that spot once every 4 weeks. Now, I got to go over there and just kill with 3 minutes. I got if every joke I ever written is about 30 minutes, and about 15 of those minutes is good. 5 of those minutes is absolute death. Now, I take 3 of those minutes and just fucking level the place. It's not, and I gotta organize it in a way where it makes sense so it doesn't seem all non sequitur, because I like my stuff to flow a certain way. Because like if I go from a joke about not knowing my dad to straight into a joke about online dating, like they don't, I would have to meld the two somehow where the two subjects interweave, and like that's just how I do things. There's a certain flow, there's a certain order in a conversation where a tangent has to flow into the next subject. It's complicated. And for someone who's on the spectrum, oh shit, did I just say that for the first time? Yep. I was diagnosed with autism when I was 2. Hard to figure that out. Takes every fiber of my body to make eye contact with people. But it's... When she put me... I was put on Ritalin when I was a kid. I vibrated through the 90s. It was rough. But, figuring out the social cues and shit like that when I was a kid, growing up, I think I've got a handle on it now. I'm analytical. And it's helping me cope with that through comedy, oddly enough. Who knew? Wow. Yeah, so figuring out how to put things together in a way that I think is quality and that I think is good. I'll have to do some writing and get on over to the Laugh Factory, and maybe Jamie Masada will remember me. I don't know, because I did the Laugh Factory when I was 14. When I was a kid, there was a comedy camp that my best friend's dad got me involved in. And even if comedy wasn't going to be a thing, it still helps with public speaking. So if you're scared to talk to people or talk alone in front of groups of people, maybe stand-up will help in that regard. Maybe that will help. But I got to get over there. But I think it's lottery-based, just like the Comedy Store. So next Monday, fuck that place. I'm going to hit the Comedy Store and try to get on Kill Tony with maybe 1 minute. I've been thinking about that. but I gotta get out there, man. I gotta get out there. I gotta get seen. I gotta listen to what he told me. Is fuck these valley places. Work on your material. You know, I'll still go to the Fourth Wall. I'll still go to the Ha Ha. I'll still go to the Spring Block. I'll still go to, you know, the Liquid Zoo or wherever the fuck, you know, like, because you gotta put in your time. You gotta put in your you gotta practice. And that's the downside with, like, kind of like cutting my losses on a place that I don't agree with, is that spot will always be there. I hope. But I want to get better in a good room. That just felt like an open mic that I didn't have to pay for. It's pay to play, ladies and gents. You know, buy a drink, pay $5, pocket change, you know. But that's another thing about this particular show, is that on the poster it says 21 and up, no drink minimum, but buy drinks. Like, what are you trying to say, man? You gotta make it a one item minimum. Order some fries. Buy a ginger ale. That's what I do. I don't drink alcohol, so, you know, I gotta, you know, get something else. But, like, generate some cash flow so the venue doesn't kick you out for being a shit host for a shit show that comics won't invite their friends to. And that's another thing. That's pulling teeth. But, like, I didn't want to promote this. I didn't want to tell my friends that I was doing this show, because in my previous experience with doing this spot in the past hasn't been good. And I don't want to bring my friends to a near empty bar on a Monday night. Pick another night. I don't know, man. I don't know. Have some good energy. Tell some jokes. Do an old set. Do a new set. Don't let the dream die, man. I'm not shitting on you so hard, but dude, get it together. I know you can. There's potential in everyone. I can see it, man. And this fool knows another comic friend of mine whose show kind of fell through because of the same thing, kind of a lack of attendance, and they got him out. I'm like, hey man, you're not bringing in any revenue. Like, you're not bringing any people. Like, I try to do my best, okay? I try to get my friends to go to shows. That doesn't always happen, and I'm only in control of so much, but every single comic should have friends that aren't comics to get them to go to shows, like a coworker or, like, you know, another friend. And that's the thing, because there's so many people in this town that are out to get the same thing, and everyone's like, oh, what's in it for me? Do I get a piece of the pie or whatever? Like, do I get to do this spot too? Look, man, the thing about this town, and I'm from here, and what I've learned is that people are fucking sharks. You know? People are fucking sharks. People won't support one another out of the kindness of their hearts. Granted, I want to go to my friends' shows. I do. Things happen. Things get in the way. I try not to take it personal. And I want to go. But oftentimes, there are schedule conflicts. So, I want to come support. I really do. But shit gets in the way. And that goes for everybody else. That's probably why none of my friends showed up to my last Flapper show. Because, and I get it, I understand, you gotta pay for parking, you gotta get a babysitter, ticket's cheap, but you also gotta buy a drink too, so that $5 ticket that's already discounted is also 10 for parking, 12 or 20 on a couple of drinks and some food. Next thing you know, you've already spent over $30. I understand. I completely understand. I am on the same boat. And I really appreciate the friends that do come to the shows. I'm not counting you guys out. I am not counting out my patrons because you guys count and I love you guys so much. But it's frustrating and it's hard to move up and get friends to shows, you know? It's hard. It's not easy. But the more I keep doing it, the better I get, the more enticing it's going to be to go. And eventually, somewhere along the line, be a feature someday. Be a headliner someday. Or I'll MC some show. And people will see the growth. And people go, all right, this guy's on to something. Just got to keep going. And I'm not just telling this to myself. I'm telling this to everybody else. You get frustrated. You get upset with yourself and your evaluation and your performance and all that, and you overlook things or you overthink things and you think, man, how can I do this better? And it eats at me. It really, really eats at me, and it's upsetting. But this shit didn't happen overnight, man. I just did a podcast with a buddy of mine, and we were talking about you know, this whole thing, and to elaborate, you know, people have an image to worry about. People really care about how they look and all that. People are worried about what other people think, and you know, that being said, there was a delay on that episode because my good friend, who's the homie, known him for a long time, had some concerns about the activities being done on the podcast, which were edited out very specifically. We were smoking weed on the show, and I had made it so that each grab for the pen, it's a new one by the way, you know, every time we went in for an inhale, except me because I don't give a fuck, you know, every time he went in to take it, a puff, an exhale, the camera was on me, you know, so I made it specific to where I don't want him to worry, you know. What he was also worried about was how he carried himself and his cadence and the dude bro man, like, and honestly, like, I talk like that too. It's a Southern California trope, but he's concerned about his laxness or whatever, and I get it. I understand, because he's worried that his new employers at this new job will dig into his social media and deep and find some dirt or find something that's unprofessional or whatever. Again, I understand. I think it's being overthought. I think it's being, because people are just very, people care a lot about what's out there and what's being said, because people are walking on eggshells now, you know? You could get in trouble for something homophobic that you tweeted 7 years ago. You know, it's getting out of control. Not to say that, you know, those things are wrong, but people grow from these things, you know? And I think he's overlooking it a little too hard. But I'm going to respect his wishes, and I will put out a video version of the episode when he is ready. I'm not going to not put it out because there's only so much time, because with my self-image, something that I care about is that I don't want to make it look like that I'm slowing down or that I'm unmotivated to put out content. That's what I feel, you know? And it's something that I think it's a flaw that all people have, is that they care too much about what people think. And it's definitely a problem, you know, because people are always trying to impress someone or become this malleable thing to guys do this in dating, is that we try to fit this personality that she will like us and that we'll get to have the sex and all that. It's just like, it's ridiculous. We all do this, and it's going out, man. It's gonna come out whether you like it or not. I'm not, if you tell me to not put it out, look, dog, I'm gonna put it out. An audio version is up there. Because look, I love you, man, but you know, I'm not. Because what I definitely don't want to do is redo the podcast and spend a lot of time like editing that. You know, you know, you're an editor. I love you, man, but it's just, I think you're worrying a little too much. All I'm saying. Man, hopefully I can tell this to your face before you see this one, because that'll be another dick move. I also don't want to be a passive-aggressive type. And that's, you know, that's something I did. I did that, and it wasn't cool. I recorded this, the host's shitty set, and I feel bad about it, but at the same time, like, dude, you know, I already said it, but it's like, don't introduce me on the stage and keep talking. It's just don't. That was so annoying. That was so annoying. It's like, another thing, because I'm having trouble with this. It really bothered me, dude. Like, it's like, know the names of the comics. Like, come on. Know the names of the comics. This is what happened. Oh, my next guest is, leaves the stage. He's been in this, he's been in that. You've seen him on this, and you've seen him on that. Please give a warm welcome to... Alright. Dude. Okay. Another thing that I wish for you to improve on. Look, okay. This is coming from someone who has a degree in fine arts, a BFA, which essentially means nothing. But it was having the sharpness to know what the fuck you're doing. And that is, remember the name of the comic, remember their credits, bring them up. I've never hosted a show. Again, I've never hosted a show, but it's not that hard. You do your set, or a part of your set, at the top. Bring up your first comic. And during the 7 to 8 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever, while they're talking, don't leave. Sit down. Remember the name of the next guest. Also, listen to the comics jokes, because you might have a tag. And if you don't, you don't. Whatever. Bring up the next guy. Just go down the list. You don't have to memorize the whole fucking thing, but it's like, remember who you're going up. And if you have to have the fucking paper on you, fine. You know, it's good practice, but just like, don't leave the stage and go get your paper or oh man. And this one comic, he's like, oh, that's my, he like wanted to finish early, I guess, and he was still outside. He's like, oh, that's my time. Good night. And he didn't get off the stage yet. And another comic had to go outside and be like, dude, he's done. You gotta move on with the show. It's like, come on, dude. Like I said at the top, gotta be a good host. You gotta listen. You gotta be there. You can't just go outside and fucking like do whatever the fuck you were doing. God, it's so disrespectful, so annoying. But look, man, you can do better. You can improve. I know you can. I believe in you. I see potential in everyone, no matter how bad you suck. The more you do it, you will suck less. I'm just saying. Yeah. And that's it, and that's that. That's I just wanted to get that off my chest. It was because, and that's an episode. You know, my unfiltered thoughts for the most part are an episode. You know, speaking of which, the last one was heavily edited because there were some details that were shared amongst the homie and I. You know, there's, and I promised my mother I wouldn't talk about the dynamics of how I came into existence and all that stuff. I can't discuss the matter. No CIA shit, no secret shit. But I promised my mother that I wouldn't discuss her or my dad, and I discussed that with my friend, and I had to edit it out. And you can probably tell at which point I did if you listen to the last episode. But it's like, you know, I took liberties with it and took it out because I don't want to tarnish my self-image or my mom's or my dad's. You know, we all have it. Yeah, and that's it, and that's that. And I'd really love to hear your feedback on how I'm doing here. It's definitely not the best, and I know it could be better. I know what tools I lack, and I know what I can do to get better. But I do want to hear back from you guys. I want to hear your criticisms. I want to hear the positive things, the things that I can improve on, the things I can get better at. Maybe a mixer you'd want to recommend. I don't know. Because I'm looking into that, saving my money into it, and I also want to thank my patrons for donating and contributing and making this possible. Thank you, Chris Alsamorano, for your donation. Thank you. You're the homie. Love you. But you know, I'm motivated to just get it out there, and that's what this is all about. You know, I'm just motivated to get it out there, and I want to hear from you guys. You know, help me do better. Because I want to do better, and I love doing this. Because if you don't love what you do, you're doing it for the wrong reason, man. You're doing it for the wrong fucking reason. And share, tell your friends, like it, and all that stuff. Keep this growing. I want this to grow, and I'm gonna annoyingly put all this stuff out here every time until someone notices the growth. Because this is what I want to do. And to my to my 3 listeners, Mom, my friend's mom. Hey, hi Dora, I love you, but Dora, you're the most supportive, and I love you. But look, your daughter and I are friends. We're not getting. It's not gonna happen. I'm sorry. That is an inside joke. They're gonna kill me for that. It's a joke. All right. We jaked off. I had a good time. And, we're not slowing down. We're keeping the train moving. Because guess what? Choo-choo, bitches. This is happening. This is a thing. We jaked off. We climaxed. Have a nice one, guys. And thank you so much for listening.